Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Top Selling New Home Projects and Design Trends webinar presented by Mollie Carmichael. Mollie is a principal of Zonda's Advisory Services. She is truly an expert in her field, specializing in consumer, design, and community trends. We are so excited to delve into these insights with Mollie, but before we do, we'd like to share a few updates from Zonda with you. Zonda is here to help you. Our team of advisors have decades of experience across the entire spectrum of real estate, helping you assess the market, strategize, and grow your businesses. Each engagement is tailored to your specific needs to help you lead, expand, and evolve. And did you know Zonda's market snapshots offer a clear view into the top CBSA's economic and housing market? Better yet, you can access a report of your local market today for free. Just scan that QR code to receive a market snapshot report that includes proprietary market details such as the pending sales index, future supply, housing inventory, sales rate, and even more. We're happy to announce the latest release of Enterprise. The complete data solution for home building now boasts an updated interface that allows you to access even more data with a seamless and intuitive workflow. Schedule a demo today with one of our experts by filling out the closing survey at the end of the webinar, or you can go to zondahome.com/enterprise. Are you trying to expand your reach for communities? NewHomeSource.com is a listings platform optimized for and dedicated to new residential construction. We offer builders the tools to reach, engage, and secure new home shoppers. Fill out the survey at the end if you wish to learn more about these services. Lastly, we'd like to extend an invitation to you for the Future Place Conference. Future Place is the space for builders and developers to meet. Join us October 9th to 11th in Irving, Texas, as we delve into the economics dynamics, evolving workplace, and leading edge innovations that are shaping the future of master plan communities. And you do not want to miss out on our hot summer savings. You can get $200 off your ticket by scanning that QR code to learn more and getting yourself registered. Now, before I hand over the mic to Ms. Mollie, I'd like to give a special shout out to our sponsors. Thank you so much to the NRMCA's Build with Strength for sponsoring this wonderful webinar. If we want a more sustainable, resilient future, then we need to build with concrete. Concrete delivers unrivaled strength and durability, providing complete peace of mind. Severe weather, deadly fires, seismic activity, they all threaten community safety. Building with resilient, non-combustible concrete keeps structures strong, secure, and capable of withstanding anything. You can use their free design center to see how concrete is the best choice for your project's budget and get expert advice from concrete design professionals. They can help you select the right concrete structural system for strength, durability, and economy, help you determine the best architectural solutions for energy efficiency, resiliency, and sustainability. They can even help you write a performance-based specification that gets you all the benefits of concrete at a lower carbon footprint. So go ahead and scan that QR code or visit buildwithstrength.com/design center to contact them and let them help you with the heavy lifting. Now I am finally going to hand it on over to Miss Mollie to share the wonderful trends and insights that she has prepared with you. So Mollie, without any further ado, I'd like to hand it on over to you.
Hello, everyone, and thanks for joining us today. This is Mollie Carmichael. I'm actually here in Nashville at the Jeff Shore Summit and thrilled to be here. There's so many great people throughout the country, and Jeff always does a great job. Well, today we're going to talk about the top product performers for 2024, where the action is, which builders are doing it right, and we're going to look at that throughout the country and for many different builders. Now let's dive into today's content and the webinar. We're going to look at a quick overview on just simply growth, where that growth is. You can see, throughout the country, these are just the major regions. 62% of that growth today is sitting in Texas, the Southeast, and Florida. It's quite staggering where all of that growth is. That's largely driven by affordability, and you'll see the price points. We're actually still seeing some of those closings still happening in some of the more expensive areas like the Northeast and California, but we're seeing that negative migration coming from those states into some of the areas like Texas and Florida. So when we look at the top 10 builders, you can see, I mean, Horton is clearly at the top with Lennar as a close second. And I project that Lennar could get very close, if not take a front running position in the next couple of years, looking at some of the supply stuff that I've been looking at. But really, they're targeting the highest growth markets with diversity by location. We're looking at the highest markets with high demand and affordable home solutions. And certainly, if you want to continue to grow, it's diversity in product and lifestyle. So Horton has their Express series and a variety of very good affordable positions. Lennar, interestingly, has much more diversity in just product. They have a lot more attached in their lineup going after that affordable position. Pulte has the Del Webb series as well as the Pulte series, and they're geographically diverse, but they're much higher in price when you compare them to Lennar or D.R. Horton. NVR, they've got the Ryan and the NV piece of this. So again, the list goes on, but you can see some of those results. There's a whole webinar just on top builders throughout the country. So let me know if you want that. But again, just some quick highlights as to who's doing it well. The other part too, when we look at those top builders throughout the country, really the targets are in that 1,500 to 2,500 square feet, which is great because that's the top square footage that consumers really want to and frankly can afford. I suspect we're going to see some of that movement go under 1,500 square feet in the next couple of years. But in this particular case, we have a slightly more movement going into that 2,500 to 3,000. People want space, but I'm going to tell you, they want to live big. They don't necessarily need to have it bigger as long as they've got the components that they really need. So let's look at the top 10 products nationally. This is really interesting. Number one, surprisingly, is GL Homes. Now, when you look at this, we're going to show this to you by region, so you'll see more detail on this. But GL Homes just has a wide range of products. It's 1,900 to almost 4,400 square feet. But look at their price points in Florida. So it's in the 600,000 to 840, and that's in the Stair area. You can see Lennar at number 2 with Horizons of Summers, Corners Legends, again, a little bit more of a range, but 1,700 to 2,400 square feet. And you'll see between GL Homes, Lennar, D.R. Horton, and KB Home, other than GL Homes, it's mostly 1,200 to 2,300 square feet. It's mostly under that $500,000 price point. And again, GL Homes bring the anomaly with a much wider range and frankly, a much wider range of series of products too. And we'll look at that. You can see where they're located again, and tying very much with what I just showed you, Florida, the Southeast, and Texas. But we do have some of those falling into other areas of the country as well. So let's look at this by region, and you're going to see some of those top 10 really show up here. So as we look at overall average absorptions, you can see those absorptions really very strong in the Florida market, particularly. You can see pretty strong absorptions in California, in the Southwest, and the Northeast. The Midwest really some of the more challenged sales rates, and these are all for the attached products in those markets. As we look at detached, again, very strong absorption sitting there in Florida, strong absorptions in California, interestingly, in the Northeast. And the only reason I say it's interesting in California, there's always great product and things like that, but certainly very high price points. But the supply and the opportunity in California is very low, but the opportunity is actually very great. So now tying to those top 10 builders, there it is once again, 1,500 to 2,500 square feet really is the target. Some push into that 2,500 to 3,000, and it really does depend. So when you look in Texas, you'll see a lot more of that absorption kind of pushing into the 3,000 square footage sizes. You know, interestingly enough, we are seeing a lot more of that though push down as Texas becomes a lot less affordable as well. So when we look at sales rate by home size throughout the regions, now we can look very specifically by regions and how that's shifting as it relates to sales absorptions. So you'll see those lower or smaller sizes for Texas, for example, Florida, for example, look at the sales absorptions and those smaller square footages. Just people looking for affordability really impact those absorptions. And that's pretty typical. Being a home builder for 10 years, my career, and a developer for 10 years, that really is the way it goes. The smaller or more affordable the home, the higher the absorptions are. Now, Florida does have some anomalies, and I suspect that's the GL homes portion of it. California as well, and some of those bigger homes, just capturing a niche that doesn't exist in those markets or very special locations. When we look at sales rate by price range, by region, again, it's those key price points that people really can't afford in that $300,000 to $500,000 price point. No big surprises there. And Texas, even hitting some of the home prices under 300,000. And again, the highest absorptions in Texas happening in that under $300,000 price point. And we're starting to see more density, new product solutions. And we'll talk about that. I'll show you some examples of that and what we're going to look at. When we look at overall absorptions by lot sizes, you'll see in those top builders, we really studied how some of those builders got to the top 10 and how some of the top product performers got to their position as well. And they are largely in the 4,000 and 5,000 square foot lots. When we look and work with land acquisition teams, when we work with master plan developers and so forth, really most of the builders want 4s and 5s, some really creative solutions in the 3s, and we're going to see a lot more creative solutions in the higher density plays. And again, we'll cover that too. But you can see those highest absorptions happening in those target lot sizes that everybody wants. Now, in the Northeast, there is a slightly peaked sales absorption in that 8,000 to 9,000. I'm sure that's somewhat of an anomaly, but again, slightly moving into up to 7,000 square foot lots as well. I really want people to think about more density, and we'll talk through that as well. So speaking of density, let's see what's happening in California. I think you're going to find that people in California are looking for affordability, and you will see those top performers still coming in the single family detached world. And so starting with number 1, again, our top builder throughout the country, we have D.R. Horton, and it's that 1,500 to 2,600 square feet. It's out in Beaumont, and it's in the low 5s to the high 5s, just families and move-ons seeking affordability. The next one's Cannery Park. LGI, much like D.R. Horton, is going after that true value play. They're targeting those renters that just want to own a home, and this gives them that opportunity in this location. So 1,100 square feet to 200 square feet in the high 4s to the low 600,000, and they're killing it. They're selling 7 to 10 a month. We've got D.R. Horton at Starling Point. That's in San Jacinto. Again, another very affordable location. Same buyers. They're buying square footage, and they're buying an opportunity for their families to have a home. Now let's move into Florida. Now, our number 1 throughout the country was GL Homes. Now, one of the things I want you to take note of, whether you're looking at active adult or you're looking at conventional product, what I think GL Homes does really well is they're just a little bit more modern and more glass, slightly more volume. They always have some form of a lifestyle play in the communities that they work in, but it truly is a slightly better version of that home itself too. So check out their floor plans if you haven't watched some of their homes. I really think they do a very good job, but they still have very affordable product. Look, it's very clean lines. The floor plans are simple. They just do something a little bit more special than I think some of their competition. So again, these are 50 by 115s. It's 1,900 to 4,400 square feet. So there is a wide range of product here. But they're doing a great job and at higher price points for the Florida market in the low 6s to the mid 8s. The next one is Sienna Reserve, and this is by Lennar. And again, where Lennar is really picking up absorption is in the attached world throughout the country. When you look at California, they're clearly number 1 in California. And their mix is so much different than the other builders because they're doing products like this. And townhomes come up a lot for Lennar, but it's part of their strategy. It's part of how they're winning and playing in the top 2 and potentially the top number 1, I think, in the future. So they're in the high fours to the mid fives. Look at their absorptions, 12 to 15 per month. When we look at the next one, it's Champions Point again, another Lennar community, another attached community. Now, what this product does, not my favorite on the outside, I'm gonna be honest. But when you walk through the doors, and so this is just giving you a life in Davenport, Florida. Look at the price points from the high threes to the low fours, and look at the absorptions. They're amazing. So now let's move to the Midwest. We haven't had a lot of activity in the Midwest, largely because we're seeing more migrating to different locations, particularly for those move down buyers. But if you look at Westfield, Indiana, you'll see Westgate Venture as number one here. They're in the low fours to the high fours, 2,000 to 3,000 square feet, just really good family product. Wildcat Run by Dries. Dries does such a great job. I mean, just their little attention to detail. It just feels a little bit different, a little bit more special. They've got great interior and floor plans. And I really think color can make such a big difference. And we're going to talk about that when we look at innovation. Number 3, Hudson Point. Lennar, once again, I'm going to probably kill this one, but in Oswego, Illinois, it's 1,800 to 3,200 square feet. And again, just cute family architecture. They've got a single story there for whether it's a starter family or a move down opportunity as well. As we move to the Northeast, we're going to look at our top 3 here. D.R. Horton with some attached products. So in the Northeast, interestingly enough, so many people live in attached, and I really believe the Northeast does attached better than anywhere throughout the country. And you'll see that in how people live and how common it is for people to live in attached and even move down. I heard somebody say the other day, if you provide single stories to a move down buyer, the only thing they'll consider, it's just not true. In the Northeast, and I'm going to show you examples of that. In the Northeast, they'll do 2 and 3 story product as a move down buyer, but they're really looking for just a very specific lifestyle, and location's a big part of it. So D.R. Horton here with 1,800 to almost 2,000 square feet, high 4s to low 5s is affordable for sure for this location. As we look to the next one, it's another D.R. Horton community, very traditional, detached, but well done, clean architecture. Again, very affordable in the mid 4s to the mid 5s. Again, on a 50 by 100, that seems to be the sweet spot for lot size. And they're selling at close to 14 plus a month. That's crazy. Gateway West, more row townhome product for this location. Again, I think more of us on the West Coast should be learning from the East Coast as it relates to attached, because some of it has to do with just how they line the walls up. There's a very specific approach, I think, to the architecture that makes it a lot less expensive. It's 1,600 to 2,600 square feet, low 5s to low 6s, and they're selling at 8 to 9 a month. I love the Central Island when you're looking at attached product. It really breaks up that sort of what I call a bowling alley look. But that center island like that, it gives you a formal dining room, and then it also gives you a living room on the other side. And it doesn't quite feel like a townhome. It really gives it a loft feel. And it also brings the light to the areas that you spend the most time in. It really feels great. Now let's go to the Northwest. Again, another 50 by 100 by D.R. Horton, 1,700 to 2,500 square feet, and a price point that for this location you absolutely want in Washington, the low 5s and 6s. A Lennar community, 1,750 to 2,600 square feet. Again, just traditional affordable families selling at 5 to 6 a month. Now, in this particular location, a new builder, Hayden Homes, it's a project named Shadow Glen. It's 1,200 to 2,600 square feet, low 3s to mid 4s, so even coming just below some of those builders, and they're selling at about 5 to 6 a month, but again, just affordable product. Now we're moving over to the Southeast. Our top winners here, Lennar, cute architecture, I think on the outside and the inside for this one, a 50 by 120. In this sweet spot, you're going to hear this a lot. 1,700 to 2,400 square feet in the right price points, mid threes to high threes in Somerville, South Carolina. Another Horton community here targeting affordability in the low threes to fours, but it's hard to argue. They're selling 9 to 14 per month, and really doing a great job. As we move over to Calabash, North Carolina, we've got 60 by 130s, cute architecture on the outside, mid threes to low fours. Again, hard to argue with. And exactly, are you hearing a theme here? 1,700 to 2,500 feet. The Southwest, as we move over here, you're going to start to see more attached solutions. So we've got D.R. Horton actually with some unique product types here. It's basically a row townhome in that 1,300 to 2,200 square feet, targeting that price point under $400,000 in price in Utah. It's interesting to see all of the attached really hitting the Salt Lake area. Quite a bit of it actually, but look at the absorptions. It's the only way they can get to the price points these young families starting out really can afford, or quite frankly, even move downs who just want lower maintenance. And yes, they will take 2-story. It just depends on the location at 13 to 15 per month. Gardens at Inspirata by KB Home. So KB pops up in the Nevada area as one of the top sellers in the low fours to mid 500,000s. Again, cute architecture and unique for this particular location. Most of that location all is very stucco, very Spanish or Mediterranean. And it's nice to see something fresh and different for the Las Vegas market. Henderson's a great place to live too. Here's another KB home in Las Vegas, Nevada. They tend to be doing great there at 11 to 12 per month, depending on the last 12 months or overall. And again, in those smaller square footages, 1,200 to 2,500, it's hard to beat, particularly for those Californians that are looking for a no tax state, or frankly, just more affordability, and they're cashing out the big equity they have there. Now for the big state. We're moving into Texas. It's hard to win in this state because of all of the product there and just frankly how big the state is itself. But number one, once again, D.R. Horton, our number one builder throughout the country. They're doing 45s in Texas, which I would tell you, as all of you know, it's really hard to get single-story homes to work well on a 45. So these are 1,400 to 2,200 square feet, and they're priced in the threes. Vintage Springs, another D.R. Horton community. Again, same sizes. That seems to be a niche for them, particularly in this market, but under 2,000 square feet. But look at their price point, high twos to the mid 300,000. Now we move over to a Lennar product. Again, a little bit more diversity, but a lot more single story. As you guys know, in Texas, about 75% of the mix wants to have a master down. I will tell you, I've studied the heck out of this. The master down thing has a lot to do with the reason that they've had very large lots in Texas. As affordability continues to get scrunched, trust me, the younger buyer under the age of 45 likes the master up. But in this particular market, where you have larger lots and you can do it, it works. But you're going to start to see, I think, some shifts there. That's a 40 by 120, by the way, but with some very light condition. Now, the fun part. So we looked at the top builders and you could see D.R. Horton, Lennar, some of those value products, they were all going in that 1,500 to 2,500 square feet. And I share that for all the builders that are looking to grow. It's hard to beat. You really have to think through. Value is so important. People are just trying to afford a home, and it's hard to argue with that. But now we're going to look at some of the top innovators, the builders that I think are doing some really special things, and just something to think about as you're looking at some unique product. Now, small town charm, I think, is a big time opportunity. So you're going to see a custom builder who used to do, homes well over $1 million, and they're looking at just, how do I actually do a smaller, better version of what I've been doing in the custom lot world? So this is actually a builder in Denver doing some really kind of special and unique things with different kinds of architecture. But there's the buyer out there that wants to do it. Estridge Homes. It's one of my favorites in the Indiana market. Again, they do small town charm really well, and you can see they're hitting a unique market, but look what they're doing just with texture and architecture, and they sell like crazy in this market, but it's because they are doing something special and different. And it's less size a lot of times, but a lot more character. And you can see that with some of the different looks. And just look at the different texture, how they apply color. I think they're really good with color. And you could just see that modern farmhouse style is great. It doesn't always have to be white. In fact, I really like the diversity of the different textures. The interiors are terrific. I show this because the number one thing I hear in all of the qualitative work that I do is light is so important. And look what a great job they actually are doing on light here. This isn't necessarily separate windows, they're mold windows. It's a great affordable approach to give that look on the outside and the inside. Look at the simplicity of the fireplace. Again, really inexpensive, but great detail that feels rich. And again, that would make me move. And that's part of this. When you're looking at this today, as we continue, as rates continue to be higher in price, you have to give them those emotional tugs to make them move. And even just simple things for that active adult buyer or any buyer that wants the zero threshold, but just a little something special in the shower. This isn't really expensive. It's just a very nice, unique, even just the corner little ledges for soap, things like that. But I think clean tile, clean execution. Now, the question is, will they only show up for single story? This is Miller and Smith, 55 plus in the Birchwood community within Brambleton. And I wanted to show you some of the things they're doing in the active adult world. I think they're one of my favorite builders in that market. They do such a good job. And we're going to take a look at some of the things they're doing in the active adult world. So again, remember in that market, they will definitely take two-story. They will definitely do townhomes. I'm going to play a quick little video on some of the things that they're doing there. Hope they can hear this okay. So again, bright open spaces. The level of detail they have is fantastic. They're including an elevator. Now remember, in a lot of these locations where land is very expensive, it can more than pay for that elevator and then some. Their outdoor spaces on the second level are fantastic. Just little different things they do in their kitchens. But remember, you're fighting with the house they live in today. So doing something special really does make a difference. This is their back pantry. And just storage, storage, storage. Look at that pantry. It's fantastic. If you're ever worried you're not going to be able to climb those stairs, I hope that's never me. But if you're ever worried you can't climb those stairs, you've got that elevator just in case. And look at the modern details. It's just not that traditional active adult. They really did some great stuff. That's a really inexpensive tile, by the way. Really nice approach to that. And again, storage, storage, storage. Those active adult consumers that are moving out of the big house, they don't necessarily want less. They just want a lower monthly payment. This is a nice, charming home. So I'm going to skip to the next one, but you get the gist of it. So again, I'm going to show you one more, another kind of active adult to consider as well. And I really loved this one as well. Townhome, 3-story. I've seen active adult do well in this market, up to 4-story, but that elevator was a big part of it. I do believe in the clear door elevator though, too. It's a little more expensive, but it does feel a little bit more safe.
in this particular case, what I've heard from these customers is it really has a lot more to do with the fact that if they need it, they have it. But this is a market that gets this kind of living and lifestyle very acceptable. But the details that they do, the light, the windows, everything that they bring to their spaces, they do such a lovely job. Look how big that feels for a townhome. Again, you get the gist. Their outdoor spaces are terrific, even though they're off the second level. If you're building anything 3-story, you have to have that deck off the main living area. They have it downstairs too, but you have to have that outdoor space off the living area. And they do it just a little bit bigger. And it feels like a portico share as you're going into the garage, which is great. And bigger, easy living. Works for that active adult consumer, and you don't even really, it doesn't feel that way. Lots of glass, lots of lights. You get it. We're gonna go to the next one. Storage, don't forget that. It's just nice appointments throughout. And Brambleton and Birchwood, they've done such a great job out there. But again, a different approach to active adult. Don't assume it always has to be 55 or a single story home. So another big trend out there for the active adult buyer, this is a myth, but everybody thinks they just want the walk-in shower. It's over 50% still want the bathtub. I've never seen a builder actually rip out the shower or rip out the bathtub and put in just the shower. But I have seen plenty of builders actually make the mistake of not selling as well as they could because they missed the bathtub. And so please remember that as well. I will say the active adult buyer tends to want more of this stabilized tub on deck. But the freestanding tub certainly looks cool. And in this particular case, it's just a great space saver. And then having that access to the outdoors off the master too, I think you're going to see more of this too. It's just a really nice and special touch. Another great one for active adult is Mollie Homes. They are selling so well. This is a community in Cypress, California. Again, another attached solution, just a small, simple club center, but really nice floor plans and really well done. And just giving an affordability piece here. Literally, you've got 2-story plans ranging from 1,300 to 2,000. And then another series there, just under 800 square feet to 1,000 square feet. So this is Texas. And I think that TriPoint came into this market and they came in there and did such a great job. But one of the things that TriPoint did, Texas has a lot going on with their architecture as it relates to roof lines, some of that stuff, and all of that is cost. And I wanted to point this out because I really think TriPoint has come in and done a pretty unique job of bringing in affordable architecture, good looking architecture, but they're taking some of their costs out of the right areas. And gosh, I don't think enough builders do this in Texas. I'm going to show you some examples of what they've done. They've also looked at product difference. So coming into this market, the division president wasn't necessarily from Texas. So I think bringing in a fresh viewpoint on things like attached or small lot detached or how they actually approach some of those categories is unique. So starting with the typical row townhome, this was a row townhome. This doesn't give this product justice at all because it's actually more of a virtual. It's not the actual real thing. You know, the row townhome works in a lot of markets, but I will tell you, when you have to add in that $250 to $400 a month to HOAs, that can be very difficult. So as you look at other solutions, this is basically it can be 9 to 10 to the acre. And this is single family detached. And you'll see it's actually what I call a zipper configuration. And you get these really great indoor and outdoor spaces. As you look at the plans, you can see the differences in the plans and how they play together. The Rosemary is more of the conventional home with the garage to the front, and they interlock with the homes with the garages kind of coming back and forth. But what that gives you are really sort of different indoor and outdoor spaces. You have the kitchen that actually can face onto that outdoor motor court, so your kids can be playing out there. You can actually throw up a great little sort of remote gate that kind of shuts that space off as an outdoor space, as mom or dad are playing in the kitchen or doing whatever. It's a great entertainment space. And then the more conventional home like the Rosemary gets the more typical backyard. But it is a really neat product that competes with that previous product I just showed you. That is, more in that 12 to the acre, at best 14 to the acre, because it's a 2-story town in Texas. And this product can get anywhere from 9 to 10, but it's fully detached. And it lives well. It's very cute. This is sort of the pocket lot piece of it that goes with that sort of recessed motor court home. But again, just unique products, and I commend TriPoint for doing it. The more conventional one is this, and that 7 to 8 to the acre, but again, unique. It's that 45 by 75 or 45 by 70 lot size, and it's a 35-foot wide house, but you can actually see this does exceptionally well too. But again, the days of just the typical 50, 60, and 70 by 100, we're going to have to move into some of these other product types just to get to those affordable price points if the market continues to push in the direction it's been pushing. Now, the more traditional things, Highland Homes and Toll Brothers, this is the more traditional look that you're looking for Texas. There's just a lot more movement on those roofs. Absolutely beautiful homes, lots of light. I think they do a terrific job. But again, it's more expensive to achieve some of the stuff with all the things moving around on these. But Highland's one of my favorite. They do such a great job with light. Toll Brothers is one of my favorite there too. Such a great job with light. But what I think Toll Brothers does very well, and so many people notice it, they love it, but I don't think they realize how much the way they merchandise their outdoors really sells the house itself. So when you're showing a lifestyle like this, now remember, the consumer is buying that house. And when you look at the house in the forms of Toll Brothers, it's extremely well done with lots of glass, but the architecture and the forms of those, I've seen their direct construction costs. It's very simple, but when you throw this kind of sizzle with it, even in a smaller home, I mean, it really adds value. So for those of you who aren't really investing in that outdoor space, I want you to think about how the world has changed in the last 5+ years. Consumers are clearly more introverted today. They're doing so much more at home that hasn't changed. We have so many more people in hybrid situations who are fully working at home. It's just a different world. And those outdoor spaces are so much more important than they ever have been. So when you're visiting this versus a used home, wow, does this really make a difference? And it's really the dream of what this can be, whether they do this or not. So again, more small town charm. So getting to the right sizes as we look to the market and pressure on pricing. And it's great that pressure on pricing is still happening and we're still very profitable. But I really also believe in color when we look at those cottages. This is another favorite of mine, Onyx East. When you look at what they do with these cute little cottages and then the boldness of the color that they have in those cottages, there's so much character. And depending on the market, I mean, this could work in Salt Lake, this could work in Denver, this would work in Seattle. I think this could work in California. I think you'd have to soften this palette as you get to areas like Florida and things like that. It's interesting. Colorist, it really does have a different application in different locations just based on the brightness and the sun. But for the most part, color can really make a difference in these small little products. And I really think so many don't invest in it. Even when you look in the interiors, just the special things they did with that island, that is all drywall on that island. That is such a cost-effective island with cabinetry or a face frame on the backside and shelves. But look at the character you have there. Same thing on the all white kitchen to the right. It's all drywall, very simply done. No soffits above. These are very economical. I even really commend the no cabinet sitting behind that island there. Brings so much natural light into a small house and it just makes it feel big. And customers do want storage, but it is so much less expensive to give them a big walk-in pantry like you saw in the Miller and Smith example, or in this particular case, give them great storage with cabinetry. And again, you could do easily a corner pantry there to the right. Lots of great solutions. Again, more applications of color by this builder. You can actually see, it just makes it playful. It makes it more fun. It makes it not, hey, I'm coming to this, value box. It's the only thing I can afford. This is just such a great look in all shapes and forms. And you can see the opportunity for it. It's great at every age group too. Being clever with your outdoor spaces certainly really helps. Oftentimes I think builders can overdo that rooftop deck. So try to be simple because it really is a cost-effective solution when you're going to these kinds of product types. Don't forget just something simple. I don't have to tell you all this, but I felt like I had to actually address this too, but just don't forget the office and just flexible spaces within there. I think you can do 5x7 square foot offices. I think you can do niches. I think you can tuck them under the stair. But I would tell you, if you were building 3 and 4 bedroom homes in the past, add one to every home you're doing. Just the numbers I'm looking at with the number of people actually in hybrid situations or working at home, it's staggering. So just making sure that you're accounting for that. I'm not saying you grow the size of your home. I'm saying you just get better with the floor plans and to really make room for that extra space. We do today have more pets than children. There are different ways to do this. Now, this is a very nice approach. This was Onyx East that actually did this very simple shower. This can be used for a lot of things, obviously, whether it's in a laundry room. They put the desk and this little space together, making it sort of a work situation. But I will tell you, over 80% said, just give me a hot, cold feature in the backyard. And I'll wash that dog in the backyard too. And it's so inexpensive to do that. But again, just another thing to think about. Neil communities, as we move into Florida, they're one of my favorites in that market. I think they just do such a good job with architecture on the outside and the inside. And a lot of it has to do with just those little details with like raised ceilings, cute architecture on the outside. They do a really good job here. But when you look at just their interiors, every time I walk one of their homes, it's spectacular. And what do you notice? It's all glass. It's lots of light. It's that thing that I told you customers are constantly saying to me, I just want more light everywhere I go. And again, now that we are becoming a more introverted society, just spending more time at home, it's still that connection to the outdoors that makes their homes really special, very good, and very unique. To Denver, we've got Boulder Creek neighborhoods with the Wee cottages. They're small homes, but boy, have they produced great sales for this builder. And this isn't all they do. They just have a great attention to detail in so many different categories. But at one community, Central Park, previously Stapleton, I think they sold out over 100 of these in less than 2 months. They're just cute, lots of character, 900 to 1,400 square feet. Again, great wood color, just a beautiful execution. And I think a neat solution that sells directly head on with the townhome buyer, but they want one thing, and most people think it's detached. It's really the privacy and walls not touching. And I guess that's part of the detached world, but it really is a privacy issue more than anything. Another great builder in the Denver market that I love, Infinity Homes. And what they do well is not just modern architecture. So here's some of their exteriors. Again, you can see it's really prairie meets modern, but it's all the glass that architecture gives you. Look at the glass on the front of that home. Look at the glass on the front of that home. You're actually seeing a lot of this kind of architecture actually being super popular too, particularly in the mountain ranges. This is pretty popular in the Seattle market too. But when you go into their homes, it's all of that glass, all of that light that happens within those homes. It's bright everywhere you go, and it just feels fantastic. Even when you get into some of their smaller homes, I mean, they do such a great job and just mixing up those different cabinet styles. But really what I wanted to point out here is this was a smaller kitchen and a smaller space that they had to work with, but it actually wraps around the side and gives them that utility, but still working within the smaller spaces. And again, another example of that sort of mixed cabinetry, but they left the cabinets out behind the range. Again, that saves but then they wrapped those cabinets, as you can see, around the back, and it gives them almost like a prep area and then an entertainment area, which is fantastic. Now let's move to Las Vegas. Without a doubt, I think the very best in Las Vegas is Christopher Homes. This is an example of view, and there's a lot of plays on that word view, because whether it is a large estate product, a duplex product, or an attached product, they really did a unique relationship amongst these products throughout this community. Here's their latest product, spectacular. Again, look at all that glass off the back. They've got views of a beautiful golf course, but the best views within the Las Vegas region. But their attention to detail, how they merchandise, their outdoor spaces and indoor spaces, they're to die for. They also did a really great job with the land here. So again, this was a tiered community, not the easiest to grade, but what they did is they did a duplex product and they did an estate product. And another portion of this, they actually did that duplex product at a single level and then tiered behind it. So everybody got a view, because view, that's free. I mean, if you can figure out how to get your homes to work together and get double views with your land, Chris did such a great job with this. And so when you look at their duplexes, this is how they look from the outside. Again, very simple, clean, modern architecture. But when you go inside, it is amazing. And then behind that single level duplex, they then tucked in these 3-story townhomes. So they got the view from the second, third, and rooftop deck level. And again, the duplex product got the view on the first level. So it was a great way, not just to have really beautiful architecture, to increase the revenue, because all of that product inside or outside got the view. So really tremendous. I also love they use real art throughout. I mean, their art is just spectacular, but their attention to detail is fantastic. And again, how they merchandise, not just the indoor spaces, but the outdoor spaces is terrific. Micro living's coming for sure. As we look to not just affordability, but just other choices and choices that don't exist, we have to be looking at some of this. So all of you know, in different markets, oh, sorry about that. Different markets, we've got the ADU for sure that's coming out there, and there's lots of different applications to that. We've got multi-generational living, that's a really super great choice. This is a third of Lennar sales in certain markets. I still don't get why every builder does not have at least one floor plan, particularly in the conventional lots. But you can see on the right, you can do this with a 40-foot wide house. You can also do this in a much larger platform as well. It's such a great solution. And I think when you look at the number of people that say in our consumer research that want to or would consider accommodating their parents in their next home, the numbers come close to 50% in a lot of markets. So having this kind of a solution, or frankly, just rental opportunity and rental income, is fantastic. So here's an example of Lennar. Lennar certainly, I think, is doing it best throughout the country. And as you look at that micro unit, you can see how cute that can live on the inside as well. Other trends out there, we're seeing communities actually do one garage. I'm seeing the garage in some cases go away. You know, markets like California, you know, local jurisdictions are being so much more forgiving when it comes to parking. And when you look at how things are moving, whether it's Uber and some of the other transportation solutions, that certainly is a great opportunity too. And I think we're going to see more movement in the garage categories too. So here's some examples of that. You can see Toll Brothers, you can see DR Horton, Pacesetter, and then are all different solutions to whether they're including a one-car garage, as you can see in the upper right. You can see that for Toll Brothers as well. And in some cases, no garage at all. Clever densities. Okay, so this is another builder that I think is really unique. Now you can't apply this everywhere, but this gets ridiculous density. It's a 3-story townhome. I love Planet Living. I think they've done some really unique things, but they took a lot that traditionally could be 2 homes, and they did amazing density here. And it looks great. It actually blends pretty well into the neighborhood. You can see a cleaner version of it without the house there.
But again, the light on the inside of these homes is just fantastic. It lives well. But this is about 30 to the acre, if you take the literal version of it. But they just did a really special application. And it just goes to show you 3-story living, you can get a lot of density out of it. Even just the wrap of the windows here in the master, very special. Once again, they were very thoughtful of their outdoor spaces despite this very high density. They did a great job. As we're wrapping up, this is my last, it's one of my favorites out there. I'd love to see a builder do this in production style. This is more of an infill, and a builder's come through in the Corona Del Mar area. And these get about 16 or 18 to the acre. And I'm going to show that to you visually here. Site plan to the left. I went to middle of the street, so nobody can question how I did density. There's an alley out the back. So middle of the street all the way around this. It was 2 acres, 32 homes, 16 to the acre. Look how cute this is. But here's how they did it. When you look at those homes, and I'm going to point to this over here, this home looks like one home. It's actually 2. And so when you come down this walkway, that's an entrance into a back carriage, about 1,500 square feet. And then this one, you enter in here, and there's a little carriage over here. Now that back carriage, as you can see up here, has a really nice rooftop deck. So it has its own great outdoor space. It's got its own private entrance, but 16 to the acre, and look how cute it is. Now they pull a 3rd story. You can barely see that right here, but they pull that 3rd story back. So it gives the appearance of a 2-story home. I just think these are really terrific looking. They live great, and I think they'd be so beautiful in different neighborhoods throughout the country.
So as I wrap up, I just want to share, I think it's really the details that count. I know Bob, Heidi, and his team do a lot of work for these guys. I mean, just look at the difference in the architecture. Moving down the street, this is Rosewood at Camden Park. Just giving diversity in architecture. It's close to 80%, and depending on the market, they do not want to count to get to their home. So whether it's color, diversity in architecture, all of that stuff, please, these details really matter. These are legacies we're leaving behind that are going to be here 500 years from now, as you guys always hear me say. I'm so passionate about that. So let's wrap up. There's a lot here. Top absorptions, again, under 2,400 square feet. Price comes in many forms, whether it's the value box, the jewel box, be thinking about how to get there. Storage at any size for sure. And I'm not capturing all that you heard today, but these are the big ones. Give them light. It's the number one thing they all want at every age. Today's consumer, they're just spending more time at home. So that outdoor merchandising, it's huge. It's working for so many builders. I just showed you a bunch of them. And it can happen really well at any density. You saw that with Planet Living. Multi-gen and just micro units. I'm doing some really neat product that I couldn't share this time on that micro unit concept, but it's really going to continue to be in high demand just because of affordability. Don't forget the key accessory opportunities for lifestyle shifts. Again, consumers have more dogs than children, so how do we account for that? Even just creating the dog run on the side of the house. I mean, that's a big deal. Add one of anything to every plan, and it's really your office alternative. So just if you're doing if you're used to doing 3 and 4, try to do 4 and 5. Don't increase the size, just get more creative with space because of how many people that are working at home. This is what I didn't show you examples of this, but I wanted to point this out. I just had this conversation with a good friend yesterday, but culture does not dictate things like feng shui, vastu, or universal design. It's just good design. And so be thinking through all of those things, I think, in all of your design, whether you have a high Asian market or any of that, I just think it's good design. So be thinking about it in your designs. There's great density solutions for duplexes in attached solutions up to 21 to the acre. Density up to 16 to the acre, I think should be detached. There's so many good ones. Save your customer the HOA and save the liability for you. For your active adult wear, it does not have to be single level, but you do need to balance that with location and lifestyle. Do they want single level? If they're driving for it, you bet, give them single level. But there's so many great solutions other than that. And don't forget, over 50% of active adults still want that tub. This is something you didn't see in the data, but it's something we uncovered when we were looking at the data. No question, all homes in a master plan, you have lower risk. You're going to sell at a higher price and you're going to sell for more. So something to be thinking about here. And the very last one, it's the details that count. And I think I can count them too. So you really can see that throughout the sales activity, throughout the different products, and the value definitely outweighs the cost. I hope this was helpful for you. Thank you so much for staying with us through this. It was a long presentation. I hope you enjoy your day. I'm going to enjoy the summit today too. And please reach out if we can help you in any way.